All right. Like I said, this week we are looking at thesis statements and essay structure. Now, we'll get to essay structure in just a little bit. Let's first go over our thesis statements again. And we focus so much time to thesis statements because I know we've been talking about them for the last few weeks. And obviously, you utilize thesis statements in your essay one. But we do this because no matter how well you can define a thesis statement, or no matter how well you understand the concept of thesis statements, actually putting it into practice, actually writing strong, clear, concise thesis statements takes practice, and it takes quite a bit of practice. You have to kind of find your habit or even your routine with a thesis statement. So that's what we are doing this week. We are taking a few days and we are practicing thesis statements. So, real quick, let's just kind of go through what we're looking at and let's apply the thesis statement specifically to an argumentative essay. So, first up, here is a sample thesis statement. In this paper, I will discuss why ice cream is the best dessert. I'm going to give you just a second so that you can decide, is this a strong thesis or does it need some work? All right, this is not a strong thesis. It's a good start, but it's not a good final thesis statement. It needs some work. It's missing some elements. So let's see how we can make this thesis statement stronger. With its many flavor combinations and ready availability, ice cream is the best dessert for any busy family. All right, so what we've done is we've taken the same topic that the first or the original thesis statement was discussing, and we've gone into more detail. We have focused it, we've narrowed it, we've made it more specific. And what we've done is we've actually created a clear claim, and we've also introduced the supporting points that are being made for that claim. So, as the reader, when I look at this stronger thesis statement, I know exactly what this paper is going to be about. I know what the author is intending to tell me or to share with me. And the author didn't just tell me it's in the paper, they're showing me. All right, so let's break this stronger thesis statement down. First, we have a claim. So the author is making the claim that ice cream is the best dessert for any busy family. That is the claim, that ice cream is the best dessert for a busy family. Now, the author also shows us there are 2 points. They only have 2 points in this one, but the 2 points of support for the claim. So they are supporting their claim with the fact that there are many flavor combinations and that ice cream is readily available. Now, if we break this down even further and we make sure that it fits our criteria as an academic argument, first off, is the claim debatable? Of course it is. Not everyone is going to feel that ice cream is the best dessert for any busy family. There's going to be other sides to that argument. Is it assertive? Yes, it is. The author is taking a stance. The author says ice cream is the best. They aren't just reporting that ice cream is a dessert. They're actually taking a stance that ice cream is the best dessert. Is it reasonable? Yes, it is. Ice cream is, in fact, a dessert. There are busy families out there. And then when you're even looking at your points of support, flavor, ice cream flavors, those obviously go together. That's a big deal for ice cream. And then, of course, readily available or ready availability. Ice cream is sold in stores and it's a frozen product, so availability is going to be important as well. So yes, it's reasonable, it all matches, it all goes together, it's all logical. Is this evidence based? Now, we're not reading an entire paper here, so I can't say for sure that the author wrote an evidence based paper, but based on this thesis statement, it is definitely plausible. There would be evidence out there as to how many flavor combinations there are for different brands and for different cultures and different areas. There's also going to be data as to how much ice cream is sold and in what regions is ice cream sold more, what stores carry ice cream, what delivery options, what shipping options are there. So there's a lot of evidence-based research and credible resources out there that can support these claims or help support the claim and the points that he is making or the author's making. All right. And then last, is it focused? We've already talked about that. Yes, this has been narrowed. It's not just ice cream is a good dessert everywhere, right? It has been narrowed down to specifically for busy families. And even looking at the points of support for the claim, it's narrowed to specifically discussion of flavor and availability. So this is a strong thesis statement. Again, an argumentative thesis statement must be debatable, assertive, reasonable, evidence-based, and focused. If any one of these aspects is missing from the argument, from the thesis statement, it is not successful. It is not strong. It must include all 5 of these aspects. All right, so we're talking about thesis statements because at their very core, a thesis statement rounds out and helps build the structure of your essay. Without that thesis statement, your reader's lost. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to expect. The thesis statement is the core of your structure. So let's go ahead and move into our new concept this week, and that is the argumentative essay structure. Now, I know the concept of structure is not new. We discussed structure for our essay 1 with our personal narrative, but the argumentative essay structure does differ slightly. Now, I say slightly because there's still a beginning, middle, and end, just like that personal narrative. But the way that we present that beginning, middle, and end is slightly different. So the first difference that you're going to notice and that we'll talk about is the point of view or perspective or voice that you are using when you write an argumentative essay. In your personal narrative, your essay 1, you wrote that from your own personal experience. You were there, you saw it, you watched it happen, you know your senses were involved firsthand. And when you recounted that experience or that story or that memory, you did so in what's called first person point of view or first person perspective. You used I, you used we, right? There was ownership there. It was your own eyes and your own senses that you were discussing. In an argumentative essay, we aren't relying on ourselves for the points of view and the credibility. We're relying on logic, right? And not just any logic. We're relying on research-based logic. So that means that you are using someone else's experience, someone else's work to support your writing and to support your argument. When you do this, you write in what is called the third person point of view or third person perspective. So, what that sounds like is where you say, research has shown that the sky is blue. Okay. Or students at the University of Arkansas found that snow is cold, right? So, those are silly examples, but that is what third person sounds like. You should not use first person in an argumentative essay that is research based, and any argumentative essay should be research based. Now, there is a kind of a small lenience in this. And I say that because some of you all may decide to use second person perspective or second person point of view specifically in your introduction or your conclusion. And I'm talking about your hook and your last, sentence or two of the conclusion, so your closure. You may use second person, which is where you address the audience directly. So you use the word you in your writing. And not everybody's going to do this. Actually, most of you will not do this, but there may be a few of you who feel the need to use or to address the audience directly in that hook and in that closure. If you do, it is not used heavily. It is used sparingly, and like I said, it's to grab the reader's attention. Usually, you're going to have some sort of emotional appeal with that. So I'm pulling in last week there, right? You may have an emotional appeal, and that is why you are pulling in the audience, in that introduction, or pulling them in there at the end of the essay as well. Again, this is not mandatory to use second person. You just may need to use it if it fits your essay. All right, now, besides the voice and the point of view or perspective, the other change is that there is the addition of a fourth body paragraph. This paragraph is called a rebuttal. And a rebuttal is where you discuss a contradicting or you oppose a claim. And what we mean by that is you are addressing the other points or the other sides of the argument. You do this because it creates credibility for you as the author. It shows the reader that you have, in fact, done your complete research. You haven't just only researched what you want to see and what agrees with you, but you have opened your mind, you've opened your writing to both sides. You are addressing what someone else may feel that is different about your claim. And you should be aware that your reader may oppose your claim. There's no guarantee that your reader is reading your paper because they agree with it. They may wholeheartedly disagree with your claim. You're addressing your reader's opposition or possible opposition to your claim. Now, you are not using your rebuttal to prove that someone else's claim is false or that it is not valid in some way. What you are doing in your rebuttal is you are introducing and presenting that there is in fact another side or two to this argument, but that your claim is still the strongest. All right, so with that rebuttal, I want to show you guys where it falls in the paper so that there is no confusion here. So we have first, of course, we have that introduction. Now, obviously, you have a title. Don't forget your titles. But we start out with the introductory paragraph. And again, that introduction is going to include a hook where you're grabbing your reader's attention, pulling them in. And then at the end of that introduction, you have your thesis statement, which is going to be 1 to 2 sentences. All right. And it is showing, it's not telling, it is showing your reader what they are about to read and what to expect from your essay, what you plan for them to understand and to read. Then we move into the body of the essay. So an argumentative essay has a minimum of 3 body paragraphs that each are discussing a main point of support for your claim. Then we have the 4th body paragraph. That is your rebuttal. Remember that rebuttal is discussing the opposing side. Now, each one of these body paragraphs should have at least one credible source of research to help support the points you are making. because none of these body paragraphs are based in opinion. And that is from last week. Remember, opinion versus argument. We are arguing, we are not sharing opinion. So each one of these points, whether it is in support of your claim or if it is your rebuttal, each one should have a minimum of one credible research-based source. And then finally, we have our conclusion.